Welcome to Chronic Combat Conversations, a live look at our best bets, picks, and predictions for every UFC event. With your hosts, TB Scouting MMA and
the Guru, back again for UFC Saudi Arabia. You've got Israel, the style bender Adesanya, taking on Nasruddin Imavov, and you've got Bullet Shara Magomedov taking on MVP Michael Venom Page. Should be a banger of a card. We are going non-stop after this, guys. I think it's at least 10, 11 straight weeks of fights. No more breaks, no more bullshit. So before we can get into this banger of a card, we've got a very, very special guest in the building. Our buddy, Danny Lags, making that cash. What's up, man? I know you're very selective with your bet sheet usually. How you feeling about Saudi Arabia?
That's kind of how I'm feeling about this card for sure. I'm definitely have to pick your spots. I mean, it's almost not necessarily a pay-per-view card, but like I almost want to view it kind of in that sense as well. But yeah, definitely pretty selective on for me myself.
Well, I think that feeling comes because Israel Adesanya, what has it been? It's been 12 straight title fights or 12 straight fights in a row that are main events, I should say, not title fights. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, sure, they were all title fights, right? Or no? Or was Anderson Silva one not a title fight? That was the only
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I think it was 12. No, it's 12 since Gastelum in 2019. Holy shit!
Yeah, so here we are in Saudi Arabia. It's Adesanya time, and no belt is on the line. So yeah, shout out to Daz, one of the greatest in the community. Lags is a legend.
Appreciate it.
So happy to have one of the absolute legends of the Club and Sub podcast on the show today. So make sure if you guys haven't already, you could go down to the link in the description. That'll take you to Mr. @Danny_Lags, amazing YouTube content. They're doing it. They're going live Sundays right now, making it happen, bringing you early, hard-hitting content. And I know you guys love the sharpshooting of Danny Lags and the contrarian takes of Stargarian, then you are going to love their content. So make sure if you guys haven't already, throw a like on our channel. Subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000. We're doing it the slow way, but it's okay. We're not all about that social media promo. We're not about winning those dollars. We're about breaking even over the long term. But no, seriously, we're 2 for 2 this year in the green, trying to keep it on a winning track. Not going the full Lags approach, but we're trying to narrow our scope, a little less spaghetti. So isn't it right in that mindset then that we have the sharpshooter himself to help us, guide us along the way here to pick
Italian too.
That's it. Oh,
we're
man.
talking about spaghetti. We're talking about spaghetti, yeah.
Oh, baby. Well,
that's one spicy meatball.
Moving in silence like cheese in lasagna, baby. What's up, Dixon? How you doing? What's up, brother? You know what I'm saying? We've got Israel Adesanya, the style bender, versus Nasruddin Imavov, the sniper. I finally figured out how to make the graphics go below the Powered by StreamYard logo so we can see everybody's full names. Isn't it a beautiful thing? But minus 166 on the Adesanya side, Imavov plus 140. Oh, man, there's a lot of factors to consider because, I mean, just on paper and looking at the technical striking, the reach advantage, the advantage in the level of competition, having been to this big stage before, I got to give a lot of those advantages to Adesanya, but you have to question, as we talked about, this is the first time in a really long time he's not fighting in a title fight. So are we okay with his mindset, where he's at and how this fight is going to play out? Can Imavov get a wrestling game going? Take advantage of some of the holes that Adesanya has shown? I tend to think on the no side. We haven't seen Imavov do anything at like a high volume in the grappling department. And I think it's pretty clear why. His gas tank is usually just hanging on, just scraping by. So while I would be extremely concerned for Adesanya against a high-level Russian grappler, I don't think that's really what we're getting here when you start peeling back the layers of the onion. I think Imavov has had great success wrestling guys that one, either have horrible gas tank and Emin Shabazian, two, are fighting a weight class above where they should have been in Joaquin Buckley, or just guys that are outclassed overall. I mean, Brendan Allen, mind you, having his way round one, gas is out due to some sketchy French commission stuff. Jared Cannonier pushing Imavov all around in the clinch, controlling his way to a lot of, success in that main event spot until the questionable, the onerous stoppage by the one Jason Herzog. It's like you should have stopped it earlier or just let it keep going at that point is kind of the consensus. But at the end of the day, Imavov was having success as Cannonier tired out from trying to clinch him. Well, I know Adesanya is not going to implement that type of game plan. At least I don't think so. But playing at range, he's going to be the faster striker, using his kicks, using his strikes to keep Imavov at bay. Imavov is not a high-volume guy in that he can keep up that pace over an extended period of time. And just as much as we want to take away from Adesanya in his loss to Strickland, I mean, you could say all the same things about Imavov fighting Strickland, who came in on super short notice. He doesn't have to cut the weight, so the cardio shouldn't be as big of a concern. And you know what? He actually had a decent showing in round 5, but both these guys got punked by Sean Strickland. So don't give me any of that nonsense. And what do you think a fight with Dricus du Plessis and Nasruddin Imavov looks like? What do you think a fight with Jan Blachowicz and Nasruddin Imavov looks like? What do you think a fight of Alex Pereira versus Nasruddin Imavov?
All right, MMA math, MMA over there. But you're right. I mean, I think you're on to something there, and I think that you're right, especially when you talk about the fact that Imavov is not going to be able to implement the game plan that somebody like Dricus du Plessis did and had success with, like somebody like Jan Blachowicz did and had success with. I just don't really see it. And when you talk about his striking acumen, sure, he's the sniper, but I mean, is his striking even the level of Alex Pereira or Sean Strickland? I mean, we know that that's not true. He already fought Sean Strickland, got completely tooled by him, and not the type of tooled in my mind. Sure, each one of them had their own caveats going into that fight. If you guys don't remember, Adesanya had the DUI going into that Strickland fight. I have no idea how focused he was or where his mind was at. He probably thought that I mean, the odds makers did too, right? He was minus 600 to Sean Strickland less than 2 years ago. Now you're giving me minus 166 against Nasruddin Imavov, who hasn't fought anybody that level. I mean, this is a wonderful opportunity for Imavov, but I just don't see where he's going to capitalize. You expect him to get a finish? Why? He didn't finish Brendan Allen. Didn't finish Roman Dolidze, right? I just don't know why people are really all over Imavov here. People, I feel like, overreact to how that fight with Dricus du Plessis ended. I mean, in my mind, Izzy's up round 1 and round 3 after getting washed round 2, but landing some decent damage anyway. And then he wins the first 2 minutes of round 4. To me, I don't even know that he's tired. What I see is a mental collapse. I see him struggling with confidence.
He also got hit very hard in the face.
Yes, he did. I think he was also a little concussed. He got pretty fucking rocked on the side of the head. I think all of it goes hand in hand there. I don't think Imavov has that type of power. So give me Adesanya here. I think minus 166 is the type of playable chalk you want to see. And I really like Israel Adesanya round 4-5 decision at plus, I think it was like plus 105 over on FanDuel. I mean, to me, that's cash money. So what do you think, Danny? Are we barking up the wrong tree here?
So I was actually going to shout out that prop specifically that you just mentioned. So it's actually plus 110 now on FanDuel. I think if you're going to play it, that's how I would look in the fight. Like, personally, I think the line, money line wise, is, I think, more or less fine. Like, if I was looking to make any play in the fight, it'd probably maybe be like it goes the distance. I don't think Imavov's finishing Izzy pretty historically pretty durable. And then on the other side with Imavov, again, maybe you're worried about a late finish there, but again, historically, I do think he is pretty durable as well. And I think also on top of that, I think it's going to be a fairly low-pace fight, so wouldn't mind playing the chalk there either.
Yeah. I like, we played Israel Adesanya if you're following us out there. Took a little minus 155. It's like It's like Dido. I will go down with.
Jeez, please don't say that. You're actually crazy. Do you want to know why we don't have viewers? It's not because we don't plug the show. It's because of that. That's very scary.
Yeah, fair enough. So at the end of the day, I think we all kind of come to a similar idea, but it's all about what you're willing to risk. So are you trying to take a shot on the prop? You diving in on the money line? That's a question you got to ask yourself. Are you Dick's insider? You think it's the end of the road for Israel Adesanya? I don't blame you for thinking so if that's the case. Every fighter does have their day. I just don't see him like I compare it like I'm like, are we worried about a Tony Ferguson situation where he's about to go on 10 losses in a row?
Dude,
like, the way he's talking, it's a lot more like,
you know what I'm saying? He's not 39, he's 35. Right? Like it's in a higher weight class.
I mean, I guess the only counterpoint I would have to it, he's already reached the highs, already had a ton of like huge fights. I mean, maybe 100%. This is like, and now maybe this could be like the big, like prove it. Like this is like a huge step down in competition, in my opinion. Like, I don't think, to your point, TB, he's not going to have the grappling success extended here, Imavov, that is. So I do think that's why, again, I think money line where it's at. I think Izzy's pretty good as a justifiable moderate favorite. Yeah.
I think you raise an excellent point, which is why I made sure that I was going to check out, and then TB had already sent it to me, the press conference. What Izzy's talking about? Where's Izzy's head at? Because after I'm thinking, if I'm handicapping that Izzy has a mental lapse in that DDP fight, right? Where's his head at? And to me, he said all the right things about wanting this fuck legacy, right? He wants this fight for him, right? His stuff's written in stone. He wants to prove he's still got it. Like, he wants to go scrap. It doesn't sound like, listen, I guess you could say whatever you want, try to sell a fight, but he's not saying that it's about the money or anything of that nature. He's saying that he wants this. So when you say that, I mean, I get interested because, again, he went toe-to-toe with the current champ, won 2 rounds off of a giant layoff that, like, he was so active and he took a big layoff to come fight the champ and is now active again when he, to your point, Danny, doesn't need to be. I like this for him.
Training with Rob Whittaker now too.
It's humility.
Shows a level that you're willing to, be humble and to go to any length to get better. That's somebody that wants to get better.
Yeah, hell yeah. Shout out Ethan, let's go. Let's see something good today, baby. Come on.
Ethan Hansen, baby.
Appreciate you, man.
Hope you follow the show, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and discount whatever belt that Imavov has. He's got 0 submission wins in the UFC. He's not finishing anybody. Let's be serious.
He's not. He's a French Russian, and neither country claims him. So take that for what you will.
All right, here we go. We've got Shara Bullet Magomedov versus Michael Venom Page. Oh boy, we're talking Striker's delight. Or is this Counter Striker's nightmare of a boring co-main event? That is the question. I ask you, Mr. Danny Lags, what do you got going on in this fight? I'm really curious what your take is here.
So to your point, I do think it's probably going to be more so a boring fight. Like, I do think it's going to be, again, similar to the main event. I think it's going to be a pretty low volume affair. I don't think Shar is anything special, but to the same point, like, I don't think MVP is going to have like massive margins in this fight. Like, it's going to be a tit for tat type of striking fight. I don't think there's going to be much grappling involved at all. If anything, I would actually edge MVP in those clinch exchanges against the cage, but I don't think anybody's shooting takedowns here. I think it's probably just a close-ish fight that Shar ends up winning like a minus EV decision in Russia.
Yep.
Abu Dhabi, I should say. Not Russia, obviously.
Saudi Arabia.
What I meant. You know what I meant.
Okay. Yeah. We're fighting now. It used to just be Fight Island. Now we're all over the world. Look out. We're back in business, but it's hard to keep track. And Shara Magomedov here, it's just, man, I just don't love the price, but you probably just got to take him. I mean, MVP going up a weight class, taking the money to fight in Saudi to do a co-main event, saying that his eyes are still on the welterweight title, but he wants to put on a fun fight for the fans. I don't know, man. He seems happy to take a check here at 185, and it doesn't affect what's going to happen to him at 170. He lost to Gary. it's frustrating. He really
Yeah, but like, okay,
that's
so
probably it, right?
no, but like, okay, so when you bring up the Gary fight, though, right? It's like Gary needed to, or at least wanted to wrestle, right? He didn't want to stand and bang with him at distance. Michael Venom Page is going to have the inch height and count them, 6-inch reach advantage. He's a switch stance fighter, which is going to make it a bit more difficult for Shara. The big problem, right? Because I mean, has he fought anybody that's a switch stance fighter? No. He's barely fought anybody that's actually even a real fighter. He beats Bruno Silva on his mental collapse on the way out of the UFC. Antonio Tricoli fumbled the Bagasaurus Rex. And Michael Olajaychuk, who decided to stop training in a real gym and go train in his friend's garage. So then you finally get Armin Petrosian, who is a low-volume kickboxer and completely unwilling to push a pace. And he outlands him by almost over 10 strikes. But he gets knocked out with a spinning back fist because that was fucking sick. So, I don't know. I just feel like Michael Venom Page has fought a much higher level competition already, just walking into the UFC in Kevin Holland and Ian Gary. I don't know. I want to keep the streak alive because we've been 2-0 on MVP, which is nice.
We have been.
I think it's MVP or pass for sure.
That's
Yeah,
from a betting. I guess that's my point.
Yeah.
Please, Danny. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the only other thing here. Like I don't think Chara's cardio's good. He's obviously not going to look to grapple here. It's just a lot of big swinging, explosive type of strikes. But I just think MVPs can also again tit for tat. Like I think this is going to be a close-ish fight that probably just goes all 15.
I definitely think it goes all 15. My thing is just like Chara doesn't use any punches. It's all kicks, all. So
and MVP's got some good boxing, good
exactly.
straight shots.
Exactly. That's kind of what I'm saying. So he could win on a couple scorecards just based on damage or just how it looks. Like there's a couple times he gets hit by Armin Petrosian, especially in that first round where he just shells up and runs away. Like he does not like that. So I'm not interested in Chara here. And I've been all over Chara each time he's fought. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. What's the split decision prop?
Thank you. I was just trying to get in there with that. I was waiting for you to be done. Damn it.
No, I have let me continue to work through my progressions, Father.
No, split decision fight. Well, I see.
You don't even have it up and you're ready to jump. Thank you, Danny.
It's 9-1.
9-1
for MVP. It's 9-1.
Oh yeah, no, I was saying fight to be a split decision in general.
350.
Plus 350.
Yeah, plus 350. I mean,
that's terrible.
What I'm talking about. When you get two strikers in a fight where there's going to be sketchy margins, they're both counter strikers. We're looking at low volume. We're looking at, and I know we say sketchy judges when we're traveling to all different countries. The places where I've actually seen the really sketchiest of judges, like Renat Fakhretdinov split decisions against Nicholas Dalby. Then you see a decision. I know
against Carlos Leal.
Yes. Gadzhi Asula versus Ibero, weird, sketchy majority decision in a close fight. Maybe he wins, but still. Then there's the other one. There's another one on that card too. So it's just take a split decision here. I think even if Page clearly wins, one of these sketchy judges is going to give it to Chara. And if Chara wins, it's probably going to be close enough where one of the judges that's not, influenced might be giving it to Page. So I just like a splitty here. And grandma's couch. Dig in there. Take a little bit. She's not going to miss it. Plus 350. Maybe you can make back $1 off of the quarter you find in there. You know what I mean?
One last thing I'll say on the fight, though. I think some people will try to get cute and play MVP plus 3.5 at minus 150. And I think that is just like walking into a trap. I think with, again, how we talked about with the judges, how you could get a 29-28, 29-28, and then just a rogue 30-27 out of nowhere that just ends up blowing that, that big chalk ticket there. So
listen, I never hate on anybody making money, but if you've listened to this show, me personally, you should just go flush your money down the toilet instead of betting a judge one of the scorecards things because they're not watching the fight. They're not watching them.
Well, I think that for sure. To back up this statistically, though, in a fight that goes the distance, that goes to the scorecards, 60-something% of the time, there's some type of dissenting scorecard, whether to your point, like 30-27 or 29-28, or a split decision of some sort. So in 2/3 of fights that go the distance, there's 2/3 of the time a judge that doesn't agree with the other two judges on what they saw in
Which
all
is
three
crazy.
rounds. But that's the damn truth. So if we're expecting this fight to go the distance, and it's just like grappler versus striker, you can kind of get a better read of how a fight might be scored. But in this one, I don't think it's going to be so clear cut around the margins. So believe me, I'm not going to tell you to play split decision for every fight. If there is going to be one on this card, it's this one for me. All right, we're moving on. We've got Sergey Frankenstein Pavlovich versus Biggie Boy, aka the Guru. It's Jairzinho Rosenstrike.
That's great.
It's -2. If the real ones know that the Guru's profile picture was originally Biggie Boy with the goggles coming out of the water, looking all luscious.
How it all started, baby.
It's how it all came about. But Sergey Frankenstein Pavlovich -298, Biggie Boy +240. I think we're in for a 1-2 bonanza from Pavlovich in the first 30 seconds that rivals the likes of what Alexander Volkov pulled off against Rosenstrike. I don't think you could just kind of kickbox from distance and counterstrike when you're giving up 6 inches of reach and you haven't trained with the guy for years before to know all of his nuances. There's a reason why Volkov went the decision against Sergey Pavlovich. They're they used to be good buddies and training partners. Volkov's been in there with the guy. He was taller than him. He could match his reach. Rosenstrike, this guy's outgunned, man. And if we're projecting him to go the distance and outpoint him or land a big counter shot and kill him, I just don't project that. I really don't. And I think Pavlovich even is the one in this matchup that has the wrestling upside if any fighter were to have it. If you're going to be parlaying people, it's got to be people that you expect to finish a fight. Pavlovich, I fully expect him to win by murder in the first round. And if it somehow gets to the second, he probably puts it away there as well. So what's going on, Glimbot? How are you doing? Rosenstrike is what Guru would look like with the deep tan. A lot of similarities.
Finally, somebody gives me a doppelganger. Everybody looks like TB.
Yeah, well, listen, TB Arlovsky does his thing, okay?
Arlovsky, Kevin Gastelum. Everybody looks like
I
TB.
look like everybody. It's crazy.
But at least I finally get somebody. I get Biggie Boy. So that's
and
fine.
Uncle June. There's multiples.
That's not a UFC fighter.
All right, fair enough. But shout out Rem Dog. We appreciate you for boosting up the Guru here.
Listen, TB, some of us, never had the makings of a varsity athlete.
Well, unfortunately, in all reality, neither did I. We did not apply ourselves. But anyways, I'm hoping Sergey Pavlovich applies himself Saturday. Well, it's going to be Saturday night in Saudi Arabia, but it'll be Saturday morning for us. I'll be chefing up the breakfast, and we're watching knockouts early. Sergey getting it done. Coming to a Saudi Arabia near you. Guru, what do you got for this fight? I'm running out.
Oh, my goodness. This fight is really, really interesting because you're coming off a Sergey Pavlovich fight that went the distance, which is very rare. And he just got pieced up the entire time. Shout out TB Scouting MMA for being on the train big time with that one and dragging me along with him. Sergey Pavlovich here has a 6-inch reach advantage. He's an inch taller. You've got somebody in Jairzinho who's, quite comfortable at times, right? Like he's just kind of can be low volume from the outside. That's just kind of his game. But when you look at his last fight versus, I think it was Tai Tuivasa, right? His last fight. So that fight, right? Like where's Ty's head at? Like, are we really impressed with that fight?
A decision, mind you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And not for nothing, take it for a grain of salt. It's probably my curse for making him the Avi. Like I can't pick a Jairzinho fight to save my fucking life. It's bad. I maybe gotten him right a handful of times, and he's fought a million fucking times. Like I got Francis Ngannou. Like good job, brother. You're the man. So I like Sergey here, but if he's somehow gun shy and they're just staring at each other, I wouldn't exactly be surprised to watch Jairzinho win a bullshit decision or just a boring decision. But I do like Sergey to get it done early because we've seen if Sergey will walk forward with reckless abandon, Jairzinho will go down. I think if he gets clipped by somebody of Sergey's power, he will go down. But the way that line is lined, it's just way too steep to really be interested. So it's Sergey round one, or I mean, a live shot on Jairzinho, depending on where the line is. But sketchy, sketchy, sketchy. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. If there's like value in the over, like I don't know.
So that's another
Yeah,
thing I
didn't
was going to
think
say
so.
now too. The under 1.5 is now minus 188 on DraftKings.
Minus 188.
Ooh, it moved since I did this at 6.
Yep.
So I just think that there's like they could just stare at each other. I don't know. It's quite interesting because Jairzinho's been way more patient lately. Like he's not willing to risk it for the biscuit.
Well, he never really does at all, and that's kind of why I think Pavlovich probably does kill him early. And I think like I'm not going to say, and I guess the under is probably that, like probably where I would go. Like obviously, I'm not going to say like the money line's great. Like I wouldn't be touching Sergey at 3-1, but I think it's probably just an early finish from him. I think the reach advantage is huge. Like obviously compared to the Volkov fight, he was at like a 7-8 inch reach disadvantage, where now obviously he has that massive advantage in his favor. On top of the fact, Jairzinho not very mobile like Volkov, not as tall as Volkov, obviously, and they mentioned the reach, not even close. So I think Sergey finds the chin early, and obviously much more Volkov, much more defensively sound than Jairzinho.
I mean, that's a shit line, but you can get Sergey Pavlovich to win in round one at plus 100 on FanDuel. I mean, that's the win. To me, that's win.
Well, that's how you would. Well, that's how you play it, and that's
because like if it gets out of round one, I want no part of him.
That's the best line. You use Pickett?
No.
All right, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, I mean, we should check Pickett, but shout out Pickett. But
So
yeah, I mean, as long as it's plus money, I'm at least tempted.
What's up, Danny?
So I was going to say real quick, DraftKings does have the significant strikes up for this, for like a couple of the main card fights. So what do you think, without looking here, what do you think they have the significant strikes for both guys at?
I mean, it should be low.
15.
I was going to say like 25.
So Jairzinho, 16.5.
Wow.
And Sergey is 22.5.
Wow.
So I got to be honest, we never play those bets ever. And maybe we should start looking at them.
I think some of them are interesting for sure. Some of the significant strike can be interesting. Some of the takedowns for sure. I mean, we can even scroll through some of the other ones too, like the last couple fights.
Jewish better. Shalom. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, really fuck Bryce Mitchell for life.
And fuck that other guy too. All right. Anywho, yeah, I'm going to go lay Sergey round one because I have a feeling we're looking at minus 130 on that by fight day. So I'm happy to lay that on FanDuel. Well, they'll give you a solid cash out if you want it. All right. Anywho, we are moving on. We've got our next fight. Saeed the Cyclone Nurmagomedov versus Vinicius Lockdog Oliveira. Wow, this is going to be an absolutely incredible matchup. Daniel, half the battle. Thank you so much. Yeah, make sure you're doing the right thing like Dan suggests. Smash the like, smash the subscribe button if you haven't. Costs you nothing, helps a ton. And
go check out Dan Levy's pod once we're done, man. He's
Amen.
The man. And I love what he's doing with This Week in MMA. That's a super cool concept.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Appreciate everyone in the community. It really is such a great thing to be a part of it. So in this matchup here, we just talked about interesting strikers versus striker dynamics in the co-main event. Well, this is the other one for me that really stands out on the card. I mean, we got two absolutely dynamic strikers, guys that can cause a ton of damage, that usually have the speed and the timing advantage on their opponents. Oliveira is a little bit more of loving to get into a dogfight, lock dog. You know, it's kind of in his name. And Saeed, he loves throwing spinning shit and trying to stay safe and land first and get away. So in this matchup in the large octagon, and you know what seemingly is home, well, Saeed's coming from, I think he trains a little bit with some of like the striking coaches that have worked a little bit with Islam at this point. Also with Timur Valiev, part of that camp in New Jersey, learning with like Frankie Edgar and his striking coach, Mark Henry. So Saeed's got a bit of like a unique style to him. And then Oliveira, I mean, he's got all the experience in the world fighting in Russia himself and UAE. So, I mean, he's fought the who's who on the regional scene, and it's not like he's not used to fighting in Saudi Arabia or similar territories. He's been there for a little bit now, at least a week plus, preparing. So, man, I think we're getting a great matchup. And then you look on Instagram or Twitter, and you see these guys playing each other in ping pong before the fight and having fun. Thank you, Glenbot. You're the man. I appreciate you. And I'm like, well, we might be looking at another fight goes the distance and potential split decision. Wow. Uh-oh.
Big Dan.
Making this claim.
Dan stuck it early in the week, and he's got some CLV, so I'm sure he's feeling good.
So lock dog by decision then? Is that the lock of the week then?
I like the fight to go the distance in general at, I think it's like even money.
It's approximately even money. I didn't get the actual line.
Yeah, it's minus 105.
At minus 105, I'm in.
It's hot.
Because for me, shout out to Dan for fucking putting his balls up, man, because I don't have the balls in this fight. I don't know. It's going to be a close fight. I expect the OV to pull it out in the end by decision, but Oliveira absolutely can get it done. He's a dog that you want to bet in for a multitude of reasons. One, because he's somebody that fights for your money. And number two, in this fight, which is something you want to look for in every dog that you bet on, he can win this fight all three ways. He can win it by knockout. He can win it by sub. He can win it by decision. I would not be surprised. But the same can be said for Saeed. So no thank you. And if anything, I'll take a shot on the fight going the distance because they're playing ping pong, and I think that they're going to respect each other's skill. And I expect it to be a great fight.
A lot of high fives as the guy misses a spinning attack and the other guy misses a leg kick. Little boop, high five. How you doing? Vinicius loves a war. I just don't think Saeed's prone to give him one. Vinicius isn't going to shoot in for a takedown and give up his neck for a ninja choke. So we probably have a really fun fight here. Probably more exciting than the co-main event. Danny, what are you doing on this fight?
I'm not looking to lay the chalk here, but I actually think like the favorite is like appropriately priced around like that minus 150, minus 175 range. Like I do think I don't think Lockdog's great defensively sound on the feet. I think if he is trying to blitz in with those wild attacks, I do think Saeed can land those takedowns, can get a ton of top control like we saw in the Jonathan Martinez fight. I don't think Lockdog's got the greatest cardio, not that Saeed does either. Like I think it's probably just a mess of a fight as later this goes.
Yeah.
I would favor Saeed in terms of the finishing ability. I think the submission obviously very live. I think the knockout not so much. I think obviously the grappling way more alive in my opinion. But I like your looks on the GTD. I just think Saeed is a minus 150-ish, minus 175-ish favorite. It's fine with me.
I just feel like people kind of forget that Lockdog was like this level of a price to Sopai, who's like very small.
Like I like
and
Lockdog. Like he's a fun fighter.
Yeah, no, but he was just controlled for the first 7 minutes of that fight, 8 minutes of that fight, like devastatingly, and then it just kind of shifted in an incredible way that he earned, mind you, of course. But it's just I don't know that Saeed, who's much bigger and more experienced than Sopai, is going to give him that kind of opportunity.
Yeah,
Vinicius
think about the travel too for Vinicius.
Yep,
sure. He's fought a lot of smaller guys.
So what is interesting too that we kind of I think somewhat all agree on, I would say, is that Vinicius is probably not going to shoot a takedown. Mm-hmm. DraftKings over under half a takedown Vinicius as it pick him right now.
Ooh. Oh wow,
which is interesting. And they also have Saeed's takedowns are 1.5, slight juice to the over. And I think that the only interesting I like the over there, but I think the only caveat to that could be an early sub there.
Right.
But I think the over there is interesting, and I think the under on Vinicius is interesting.
Well, watching the Jonathan Martinez fight, I could totally see an over on the takedowns.
And another thing on top of that what I was going to speak to after you finished there was the significant strikes for Saeed. That's at 46.5. I think the under is a decent look there if he is looking to grapple a decent bit. He's actually only gone over that number, I believe, in one UFC fight.
Huh.
Yes. No,
that's incredible. Sorry. How do you know that off the back of your head?
I lied. I had UFC stats pulled up. Sorry.
Oh, that's fair.
But no, it actually is a couple.
That's pretty good.
But mostly, I mean, I guess the caveat to that again would be that most of his fights are ending with early finishes. So maybe just again go with it doesn't go the distance if you think that's the case.
You bring up
See,
some
that's
good
tough.
analysis,
I know.
and I love
A
your
lot of
same
different
game
markets.
parlays too.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm so happy to have you on, man. And this is why we bring on different guests each week, because you're one of the first people that really bring up these type of props on the show, and it's a really awesome angle to look at. There's a million ways to split a pie, right? And as long as you cash, like, who fucking cares? Like, I'm always down to learn a new way.
Yeah, but people think Vinicius is tough, competitive in this fight. His significant strikes are looking at 43.5. You think it goes longer? Maybe you think that's good. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Point.
Yep.
All right, we are moving on. We got Faris, the Smile Killer Ziam versus Mike Beast Boy Davis. This should be a super fun matchup. Ziam coming in, he's got a little bit of a height advantage, got a 3-inch reach advantage. He's going to be a few years younger, a lot less ring rust. He throws a little less volume, but he does it a lot more efficiently from distance, like a way better striking differential from range. Meaning he's got way better defense and he's a bit safer of a striker. But Davis, I mean, his upside comes from the wrestling, the grappling, and being able to kind of do every possible thing you would want offensively out of a fighter. It's just all the drawbacks defensively that give me a pause. The injuries, there's a lot of issues. So to see him once again flying out, he's been on a layoff here. Guru, what were you thinking about this one?
What I was thinking about when I bet it, which hopefully you guys follow us on Picket, what I was thinking about when I bet it was that the line was really wide. And what I bet on was I bet a pretty sizable 2.5 units on Faraz Ziem at plus 195. That line is now plus
Good
120. So, I like him a lot at plus 195. How do I feel at plus 120? A little, scared. We like the fact that you can double up your money. But Mike Davis is, very physical. And I think we've seen Faraz Ziem choked out by Terrence McKinney, and that just doesn't live well. He got out wrestled by Don Madge in his UFC debut. So, there's been some issue with Faraz Ziem, but I mean, he's just looked fantastic lately. And I would imagine that's baked into the line where it is now at the very least, because knocking out the steamroller Matt Frivola the way that he did was not easy to do. And it was really quite incredible. It earned him his first ever bonus. And I think whatever it is, 10 fights. So that's pretty special. I think that Mike Davis, when you look at his record, not only has it been a while since we've seen him, when you even compare it to somebody like Faraz Ziem's record, Faraz actually has a more experience and has fought better level of competition. And that's like a crazy thought. Your claim to fame can't be, debuting against Gilbert Burns up a weight class. Like, it's just not good enough. The Mason Jones fight. Okay. That dude has still not come back to the UFC. Beating up Slava Claus. We've seen it. Not impressive anymore. Beating up Natan Levy. Choking him out round 2 when you're a minus, 600 favorite. Okay. But, we haven't seen either of those guys since. So where you been? I like the activity of Faraz Ziem. And that's not even getting into some of the stats and other stuff, which I expect these guys to get into. So I also, FICO in the distance, I think is fair. But dog or pass, baby. Cheers.
So starting with that, I actually lean the other way. I actually like violence, if anything, in this fight. I think Davis actually has pretty decent grappling upside. I think he can find a finish on the mat, and I think if it stays standing, I mean, Davis has pretty big power on the feet. Ziem pretty precise. Davis slows down a little. Davis slows down a little bit in fights. I think Ziem could definitely get a late finish in the fight. Davis definitely find an early finish. For me though, I was hoping the money line was going to come in a little more. I lean on the Mike Davis side. I understand the people who are betting Ziam at the big dogs, but I lean with the grappler a little bit more in this spot because I've just seen Ziam. I just can't get his defensive grappling holes out of my mind. Like I feel like a lot of people will point to the Frivola fight where I feel like don't get me wrong, I love Matt, but he's definitely regressed quite a bit. So it's a stay away fight for me. I do like violence though.
I think when I said that, I think you make an excellent point because I mean, again, the dude has been choked out by Terrence McKinney. We just watched him choke out Natan Levy. We've watched him knock out Thomas Gifford. So I do think that Davis could get a finish. It'd be quite interesting. It is an interesting spot. I like my big dog shot. I don't love it as much now. It's going to be a great fight. One of the better matchups of the night.
Yep. We ride with the smile killer. All right. Make sure you're doing the right thing. It would be really messed up if you hadn't liked and subscribed by now. But one way to avoid my judgment is doing the right thing. So go ahead, take care of business, and we'll go ahead and move on. We've got the Hillman, Muhammad Imavov, Muhammad John, if we're going by full first name.
We're going with the government, baby.
Government name. Beautiful. Muhammad John coming in, fighting Genghis Khan awfully. I think
he got awfully slept, didn't he? He took an awfully long nap.
Yeah. Nice. In this matchup here, I think he might be.
That was awfully corny, wasn't it?
It was awfully corny. But believe it or not, this
nickname
is
you
not
do
a
better.
TV nickname. Yeah. Oh God. Well, at least it wasn't me this time. We're doing our best.
I know.
This is fantastic.
Trying to roll the theme here.
Hey, I like it. So the question here, I mean, Khan Offley, what does he have to offer? Probably like pace, wrestling attempts. I mean, Naimov is just going to be bigger. He's going to be stronger. He's going to land with more power. He's got more experience at this level. And while I'm worried a bit about his gas tank against anybody by the time we get to round 3, I'm not sure if we do get there in this fight. If we do, I'm probably holding my breath as Offley's taking his back and doing disgusting things or getting to top mount like Nathaniel Wood and nearly finishing him as the fight's coming to a close. We've seen a lot of Muhammad John get sketchy as it gets down the stretch. Colin Anglin, that was a bad look on contenders. I do think that he's filled out. Looks like he's, enjoying the non-USADA lifestyle these days. And fighting in Saudi Arabia, we know this guy's willing to do whatever it takes. Any type of cheating he could possibly do, he's going to try. So even if things aren't going his way, I expect him to pull down Offley's pants, go for an oil check, grab the cage, poke him in the eyes. He's going to do everything he can, and they're not going to do anything about it. We've already seen this story before. So, I mean, Naimov, I just don't have to feel good about minus 340, right?
No, you can't.
So I'm not going to do it. So I'm not going to do it.
The only, he finishes Jamie Malarkey, which
in a fight that he was losing.
A fight that I thought
he was losing.
Yeah. A fight he was losing the whole time.
Terrible.
Upper weight class, good for him, whatever. But Jamie Malarkey gets knocked out by the shower in the morning. He turns on the shower, the water hits him, and he wakes up a half hour later.
Dunzo.
It's bad. Nathaniel Wood, he literally lies, cheats, steals, threatens the judges' wives. They're going to bury him out in the desert, to get that decision. Then, I don't know, he pays off the commission or something. Eric Silva comes in injured, and he finishes him in 40 seconds. I mean, I'm not a fighter. I swear to God, there's plenty of women that could beat me up. I think I could have finished Eric Silva in that fight because all you had to do is know about his leg injury. Then you've got the Felipe Lima fight, which he just completely gasses out and quits. Completely quits.
And another fight, and it's crazy because that was a fight he was winning 2 rounds. And
yes.
It's weird. And it's weird, too, because I've had an awful history betting Naimov fights, and I don't think he's great. I think he's a serviceable fighter. And that's why I bet him at Pick'em against Lima there and hammered Wood against him as a big favorite. Again, lied, cheat, stealed, maybe pay the commission off a little bit. But I don't trust his durability. I don't trust his cardio.
Yeah. What is Khan Offley shown? I mean,
He's got decent grappling. He's got decent cardio. Like, I think he's just a generalist.
right. There's like, so that's kind of
right.
my point. Like, nothing really stands out about him. And he's like he's decent at everything, but a master of none. And I'm just kind of like, but to that point, I just think he could make this. If this fight goes a distance, I think it's going to inherently be close.
Well, to that point, I would say I think Offley's much better a live bet. Like, I think Naimov for sure is his best round is obviously always the first round, then fades off a little bit. So I think maybe wait to live bet if you do like the Offley side. Again, play it out, see how the grappling is going.
Oh yeah, we have a bet in this fight, TB.
You know, I've been debating the merits. I haven't placed anything.
I did place a bet. Maybe you'll let me know what you think, Danny Legs. I put just under 1.5 units to win a unit on fight to go the distance, minus 134. I don't necessarily think that either one of these guys gets finished. I think Marion Santos is a beast. Whatever.
Not Sean Marion, not Marion Jones.
I don't care.
Marion Barber.
I'll fix it for the next fight he has, which I think is coming up soon. Myron Santos.
There you go.
I think he's a beast, and I just think he's a different animal. And then again, like we talked about, or like I talked about with Naimov's fights, the Malarkey fight, you get knocked out by the shower. Eric Silva comes in injured. Felipe, he quits. I just don't. I think that Offley's not gonna come in here and quit, and he's not gonna go get brained like he did by Santos, unless he's just a shot fighter, and then okay. So I like the fight to go the distance. I think that there's a little value there.
Yeah, I think most of the finishing upside's on Naimov. So, yeah.
All right. We got another fight here. A beautiful big meal, Shamil Gaziev versus Thomas Jefferson Peterson.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Well, he has his own nickname. It's just he's got multiple nicknames in our hearts.
Yes.
And in the announcer of the Apex's mind.
Yeah, he called him Thomas Jefferson.
All right. But Big Meal Shamil, he's out here with the best ever original nickname in Chronic Combat history. So we can't stop supporting this guy now. And when you take a look across the octagon at how small those T-Rex arms are and how the proportion of meat, that looks like a big meal for Shamil. And I think he's ready to devour this bad boy. Round one, straight punch combos up against the fence as Peterson tries to use in and out movement while keeping his chin on the center line and just gets obliterated by the studliness of Big Meal Shamil. Ultimately, I mean, I would feel disgusting playing minus 340, but I mean, he's the pick. So and confidently, I don't think like Peterson could come out here. He could wrestle, he could strike, he can stay clean, could look good and lose 29-28 decision because Big Meal Shamil is going to be landing harder punches. He's the bigger guy. And it's not like Jairzinho Rosenstrike type of foot movement and countering ability. We're talking about getting in close striking battles with Mo Usman level of striking ability. So I think Shamil's good here. I think he's all right.
I mean, it would be really funny to watch him get tripped up and laid on top of by Thomas Peterson because
I would die.
I think as I look at it, right? Because as I look at it and remember the Greg Velasco fight, he did get taken down and like he just kind of randomly falls on top of him.
Can I tell you, it's because Big Meal was literally too fat for Greg Velasco to put a body triangle in. So he has his back, but he just is like, bro, I had a big meal before this fight. I am turning out of this and getting into top control. And that is what happens.
Right.
That was still crazy, though.
It was crazy. But Peterson, he's got stubby legs, too. The same thing would happen.
Yeah,
he's going to get that position, and he's just going to get turned out.
I don't think he would try to. I don't think he's got much BJJ to speak. I think he would just try to just stay safe and top control. Just try to keep the Big Meal on the ground, you know.
And that's the problem with minus 340 Big Meal, which is why we're not touching him.
No.
And I don't even like. I don't know if TB really meant that he likes in like a round 1-2 pop for Shamil.
I'm just saying if you're betting it, that's the only way you could do it.
No, but look at the
You would do decision?
so then something has to be wrong then because look at the
Ooh.
overpriced TB.
It's over
How can
1.5
Big Meal be?
though.
How could be? Oh, cool. How could Big Meal be minus 340 if you expect his win condition to be in the first 8 minutes of the fight?
Well, they're still not expecting the fight to go the distance. It's minus 185. Fight doesn't go.
Right. So then you think that he can get it over time, which means you don't think his cardio is a problem, which means you think he's just gonna control him the whole time.
Shamil KO 1 plus 240 is your bet then.
Yeah,
right. That's what I'm based on your handicap. That's what I'm saying.
That's exactly my point. If you're gonna spend any money on this fight and your pick is Shamil, you're not feeling great as we're rolling towards a decision.
But that's where I think we go, and that's what I think I'd rather play. Fight.
And I think
fight goes plus 140. Plus 140.
Yeah.
Give me it. This is sorry, Legs. This is a fat, sloppy, fucking heavyweight, grind them out, lay on top of each other fight. It's going the distance. What do you think, Danny?
Well, I guess I was going to say, I know you like playing a little safer sometimes with the start round 3. That's minus 105.
Oh, I love that.
Ooh.
So there's that. I think what's an interesting play that I was looking at, don't know if I'm going to get to the window on it, is just playing it Gaziev to not finish. It's minus 110 because I personally think once we get out of 5 minutes, I think you're probably very, very safe at that point.
Yeah. I mean, he finishes Budai in round 2, but that's in the first 50 seconds, and he just unloads on him. If he didn't finish him there, he would have been gassed out.
Budai pretty slow too.
Very much so. I think you make good points, Danny.
It's interesting. I definitely one I could, again, no shame in passing on this one, which I may end up doing myself.
Oh, man.
No major. I don't see how there could be a major rush to bet this fight.
No. Peterson or pass. No, I think overs or pass.
Yeah.
Like fading a finish. I think just fading a finish in this fight is just profitable.
That's what I love to do that. That's my favorite thing to do with heavyweight MMA. So, and I think this is the perfect fight to do it with.
It's funny, Guru. We did actually talk about this earlier today. I think we have to do it.
I know.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I would like to apologize for my sins.
Well, I mean, the one I said earlier was the Imavov fight, where I also think I'm right.
But I'm just looking at this guy. Can you blame me for getting distracted and losing all control?
Well, I mean, if you shaved your mustache, that's you. Shave your mustache, grow out your beard, shave the top of your head. That's you.
All right. We can be Big Meal Shamil. I just need to go through further male pattern baldness. All right. And gaining a few extra pounds. I'm just way below the heavyweight limit at this point. All right. We've got T-Rex, Terrence McKinney, minus 500 versus Demir. How are we allowing this nickname? Hadzovic, the Bosnian bomber. He's not really allowed in the United States at this point, so I don't know how we're allowing this nickname. The dude has had to cancel like multiple fights, visa issues. They're probably just confused as they go to like sign off. Like,
they just Google him.
All
right, before we approve his visa, just do a quick Google of this guy. Make sure he's all right. Chief, we got a problem. He's the Bosnian bomber we've been looking for.
So, anyways, here we are in Saudi Arabia. And the one and only Terrence McKinney is coming out here to handle business for us once and for all. He's going to jump on the grenade. He's going to jump on the Bosnian bomber and try to take him down for all of America. So we don't have to worry about these issues. I think by rear naked choke in the first 2 minutes and 30 seconds, Terrence McKinney in under 2.5 minutes for all of the glory. Terrence McKinney and sub 60 seconds if you want to have a lot of fun and lose your bet, probably. Plus TV, 450, I'm just saying.
TV, I know you can have a lot of fun in 60 seconds, but most of us need a little bit longer than that.
Terrence McKinney, not really, though. I'm just saying.
That's fair.
He's got no takedown defense. This could be the Moicano special. I've wanted to fight for longer. Well, you should have learned how to defend a rear naked choke.
Listen, he only has one finish under that 30 seconds. I mean, actually, he has two, but in the UFC, which is pretty cool. But one's Matt Favola and 60
seconds.
And one's Matt. Yeah, it's still two, buddy. I'm sorry.
Well, what about 2.5 minutes? That was my original bet.
You've got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you get
What
more
if
of them now. 4.
what if I told you that McKinney in under 4.5 minutes was -110?
What if I told you on Bet365 it's fight round 1 is -110?
That's yeah.
Yeah,
McKinney and under 2.5 minutes plus 2.
stop with the 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
I just don't trust it. And then the other problem is I just don't trust it. Hear me out. After 5 minutes, you're gonna hate yourself because Damir Hadzovic. I mean, sure, he could be absolutely washed because we haven't seen him in over 2 years, and he's not exactly a young man at 38 years old. I just he's been finished once by Renato Moicano by submission early, so that's kind of how I see Terrence winning. More club and sub than just knockout. He was knocked out once in his UFC debut. I'm not sure. So I think if Terrence McKinney does it, he needs a sub and he needs it early. Otherwise, I think that Damir could be interesting. Otherwise, you need Terrence to wrestle. I just don't know that he has any cardio. You got a guy with more veteran experience.
I think Damir's got as bad of grappling as Farisium did when Terrence fought him.
He probably worse.
Worse.
Yeah.
Way worse.
So I'm telling you,
that's the thing. He's almost 40. Here in this spot. I personally, I have McKinney in a parlay at -360 to win a unit and a half. I don't even think. I think the big thing with in general, don't get me wrong, I don't think McKinney's got great cardio, but I don't think the cardio is the issue. I think it's more the confidence. Like in these spots where he's getting knocked out, he's not having success with the grappling or he's not having success with the striking to the degree. I mean, look at some of these spots, the Zim Sadikov, Ribovic's where he gets caught, even Bonfim as well. I mean, he's winning the fights that he's, in my opinion, supposed to, and the fights that he's losing. I mean, are we really saying he should have been super competitive? Pick him? I think he should have been dogs in most of those spots. But in this spot against Hadzovic, the dude's got awful grappling. I think McKinney's much better athlete, can get him to the ground easily.
I just don't we're just not video game controlling him.
Even if the fight extends, I think he can land easy takedowns.
He should finish them. All right.
I think the grappling disparity. I think the disparity is so huge that should be fine.
But do you think he's gonna? Do you think if it goes to round 2, are you feeling good though? That's kind of my question. Do you really think?
I think McKinney could finish him at any point. I think he could win I think he could win a decision. As crazy as that sounds, this could be a Diakese spot.
So you parlayed his money line.
Yeah.
At 360, yeah.
We haven't got up to who you parlayed it with?
No, we have not.
Oh.
I think you can guess who it may be, but we'll see.
Nice, Reg. Good choice. Appreciate you joining the show. And shout out Mike Terrence also at his new gym at Fusion Excel. More of a grappling focus, mind you. All right. Moving on. We've got DJ Jasmine Jazdavicius versus Mayra Shitara Bueno Silva, MBS, fighting in the Royal Prince's home country, MBS.
The first women to ever do it.
I think not. Well, isn't DJ Jazzy also the first woman to ever do it? Aren't they both
They said they are the first women to ever do it.
Okay. All right, cool.
Women is plural, meaning two, my friend.
Fair enough. Nuance.
In case you need a grammar lesson. Woman or man is just one. Men or women is 2 or more.
Well, DJ Jazzy at -265 before the fight against someone that has grappling, has a bit of Muay Thai striking, and has a bit of their own offensive wrestling success. I'll tell you, I'm just slightly worried, but at the same time, the more I think about it, Jazzy is just nonstop on the gas, and Bueno Silva just does not have the gas. So unless she's dying in round 1 or submittalated immediately, I think this is the live bet spot opportunity of a lifetime. Because
you think she's going to lose round 1?
I think it's at least going to be close enough on the feet. And even if she struggles to get her game going in round 1, as long as she gets to round 2, it's all downhill from there. So while I'm lightly hesitant to play a parlay or anything ahead of time here, just given the dynamics of the line compared to other matchups that she's had, I do overwhelmingly think that as this fight plays out, she's the clear minute and probably moment winner as we get into round 2 and 3. Now, is Bueno Silva live for a back take, an armbar attempt, some punishing power in the pocket, the slicing elbows in the clinch? Sure, all that stuff can happen early. It's just with the pace that Jasmine puts on and the damage that she's able to eat normally. I mean, this is going to be like a zombie attack. And I think Bueno Silva is going to, she might not get finished, but she's going to succumb to the pressure and the pace of Jasmine over time. And that's why I think the live bet spot, because then if Jasmine is getting arm barred or making a crazy mistake, well, your exposure, you're all good. But then if she starts winning immediately and gets a takedown within 30 seconds, well, you had no money on the fight. Oopsies. I think I can live with the second version of that. But I have a tingling sensation that we should check in with our friend Danny Lags. Is there anything that you have on this fight?
This is the second leg of the parlay.
It's in the room with us right now. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, minus 225.
That's
Jasmine
better.
Jasnovic. Yeah,
that's better. Yeah.
Not to. I guess as I was thinking, as you guys were talking there, I was thinking how I would almost describe Jasmine. And maybe this is a bad comp, but I would almost describe her as like a Jillian Robertson 2.0. Like she's got way better striking. Obviously, not great by any means.
Way better.
But again, tenacious in the grappling, and once she gets to the mat, very ferocious, looking for a finish, KOs, submissions. I think the under, plus 240 is crazy in itself. I think Jasmine very live for a finish, on the mat, and I think MBS, most of her win equity is a finish.
What's like fight to end by submission in general? Because Mayra Bueno Silva only has 1 KO, it's 7 submissions, and I guess she's never been submitted, but the one finish was by the cut stoppage in her last fight. That was the first one ever.
So exact method of victory, submission is plus 380 and KO is 5-1.
Interesting.
Yep.
Very interesting. I like Jazzy to get it done. She should be set. You're right, TV. I think it could be an interesting live bet spot.
And shout out to Danny for getting the best of both of those lines in these last fights.
Yeah, I might need to dip into that parlay.
And we'll probably need a third piece given where the lines are at. So we'll go digging around. Well, listen, I think you're allowed. We'll be honest. Like doing a meta analysis of our game, our parlays are probably the weakest aspect. We do really good on over props. We've been doing a lot better on straight money line plays. But parlays have been our downfall. So if we're gonna do it, let's make one mega, dangerous parlay for the card.
I think the other parlay piece to that would be the Shara fight to go the distance for full danger.
That's a pretty good thought. We've got Bogdan the Unleashed Grad versus Lucas the Lion Alexander.
Crazy fight.
Crazy underprice there you got.
I don't know.
Plus 190. Yep. That's an even.
Yeah, there
Crazy
we go.
You got there.
It took a long time on this card, but we finally made it to the TB fuck up of the week. This is incredible. This is probably the longest it's ever taken to get to our first mistake of mine for the night.
So it is minus 115 aside for the total right now.
Yeah, it's got to be right. Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. My bad. So I would immensely lean to the fact that Bogdan Grog just does not know what a chill fight is. And I don't think Lucas Alexander can handle, 15 minutes of a crazy fight like that. But Bogdan Grod's also got absolutely abysmal defense. He's got an okay enough chin, but at the same time, he's also been murdered multiple times. So
is Bogdan going to wrestle?
He could, and that's the other thing.
He's got grappling upside there too.
I wrote in my notes
and he can find a finish too.
I wrote in my notes he's willing to offensively wrestle when necessary.
And it might be necesito here because Alexander, he packs a punch, man. He's got legitimate striking. It's just, I don't think he's really got that one punch knockout power that it's going to take to keep Grod off you. And while we did the CLV thing, we saw the line move in, hopped in on a Lucas Alexander plus 130. I took a little, 0.1 unit profit on a cash out of a 1 unit play because I don't want any more Luke X Alexander in my life at this point, okay? And I'm happy to have made money on the line movement. And I think the fight, one, it's not going the distance, and two, it's probably Bogdan Grad finding that finish. If I had to really search my feelings, that's probably the right answer.
Bogdan Grad by finish,
By
you
finish.
said?
Yeah.
Wow.
Inside the distance. If the fight's going, it's because Alexander's landing more strikes over 15 minutes. Or it could be that Grad is getting takedowns without a submission, but I think he could get a sub too.
Yeah.
I just feel like are we sure we're not like overreacting to his last fight? Like it was kind of crazy how he got knocked out. Sure, he gets up like an idiot, but
That's why I'm not saying that it's necessarily a chin issue. What about his 3 submission losses in his career? That's probably an issue too, right?
He's probably not very good at that.
No, and then what about the fact that he missed weight in his last fight, and now they're making the Brazilian go fly out to Saudi Arabia to fight the Eastern European guy?
Probably he's probably
Probably
prepared for
not
it, but it's
ideal.
probably not ideal.
Probably not ideal if I had to guess.
Well, but to Glenbot's point, right? He is training with Mike and Terrence, so I'm sure they all flew out together, training together, cutting weight together, right? Because they're all training at Fusion XL. So, I mean, it's part of a handicap that is quite interesting. I'm not saying all 3 guys win.
No, we actually picked against.
All 3 guys should grapple.
Yeah,
that's a thought, but look where that took Lucas last time. Didn't work out so well.
Yeah,
I'm going for a heel hook. He's letting me stand up, and I'm dead. Hang gliding accident.
Fell off a roller coaster, broke every bone in his body.
Yeah, not good. Anything we missed here? I feel like we had some fun on this one, but Danny, did you get your full points out there?
Yeah, I mean, only other thing I have, I don't think Alexander's great. I mean, I don't think Grad is either. I mean, the problem I have with Alexander is, I mean, I think there's not one great aspect of his game that I can point to. It's like, man, I really like just an outlandish, like, again, put me at like 60% over Grad. Like, decent power, but I think in the striking, pretty defensively void. In the grappling, obviously, he's there to be had as well.
Yeah.
It's an interesting fight.
And Guru, you were all good here as well?
Oh, I'm good.
All right, fair enough. This is what we've been waiting all night for. I'm just absolutely may we all say a prayer and thank that USADA is no longer in our life so that we can once again enjoy the pleasures of Hamdi Abdelwahab fight night. The Hammer, Hamdi Abdelwahab, the GOAT.
John Jones, stop fucking running. Stop ducking. Stop running from my boy. He's coming for you. I'm telling you now. Hamdi, next champ. Like 2027. It'll be here.
As the Guru said, so
it'll be like 45.
Alhamdulillah. I think we see all that we need to here. Jamal Pogues, the Stormtrooper, minus 108. Hamdi, the Hammer Tits, minus 112.
It says he doesn't have it. It says he doesn't have a UFC win, but my bank account says different. He beat the shit out of Dontel Mays. You know what's funny to me is that like everybody was calling that fight was like a robbery, but if that fight happened today, it was the clearest 29-28 in my opinion.
I didn't think it was a robbery. I just thought it was a close like split decision. Really, I think it was more so like everybody piled in on Mays as an underdog or as slight chalk, ended up closing massive chalk, and then just performed awfully. And I think a lot of people don't want to do that same thing here with Jamal Pogues. And personally, I mean, I kind of get it. Like, to me, Pogues, fine striker on the feet, much better than Hamdi for sure by a mile. But the guy just seems very slow. In the grappling transition, if Hamdi lands on top of him, like, he's not going to be rushing to his feet. You saw in the Peterson fight, able to land a decent bit of top control there. I don't know. It's interesting. What's also interesting is the over 2.5 minus 250, which to me, I would almost lean like Hamdi, if anything, is probably going to find an early finish. I don't think it's probably going to go the distance. I don't know. Interesting.
Listen, Rem Dog, I love you, man, but we take no I take no Hamdi slander on this pod. I will block you
The
forever.
dude's got no gas tank, man.
I
It's
will
crazy.
block you forever. He has the heart of a lion.
No,
There was no chance that fight was being stopped.
let me tell you about the sadness of the UFC Apex and pulling our boy Hamdi off of back control on Dontel Mays. I don't care. He wasn't doing anything. You think they're separating them in Saudi Arabia?
No.
I think we're getting tits to back for at least 12 minutes of this fight.
Yeah,
Hamdi
that's the problem.
by aggressive tit action inside the distance.
I
know. Plus 126 Hamdi. We fucking nailed that shit. We
Yeah.
beat the line movement. We put way too many units on the goat of heavyweight, but god damn it, we're riding. Baby.
No, not one. We got 116, not 126.
I'm gonna go.
I don't think so, brother.
I'm gonna go check because maybe you're right. I'm just very excited.
There's no way you bet Hamdi before me, so
I'd be curious if he almost like because of these suspensions and whatnot, like he's only can fight in Abu Dhabi, like kind of almost like the Shara thing.
Yes.
Like
he's just the sideshow Bob of Saudi now.
Yeah, well, like I don't even know about that. Like just like maybe he doesn't can't come to the US and fight. Who knows?
I'm willing to take the risk. I think it's worth it at this juncture.
Why was it?
Go for it.
Well, I mean, it's not that he can't fight. It's that he had been waiting to fight. His ban just got lifted the other literally January, like mid-January. There's only a couple cards.
I guess I'm saying like he would probably only be booked in these Saudi cards. Like he wouldn't be booked like in a Las Vegas Apex, even if he was.
You're right. The commissions definitely would just be like, "Fuck this guy." There's no way. Look at him.
Look at his tits.
I mean, come on. The gyno of a lifetime.
I mean, how many push-ups do you think he does, honestly?
None, because it's all steroids.
Exactly.
So my question is, okay, so we nailed some CLV on Hamdi. We got a few units out there. Follow us on Picket if you want to know exact details and when we're doing it. Bet MMA if you want to see on fight day how we've organized it beautifully for you guys to break even over time. But Danny, did you have a play here? Or are you passing? I think you're passing, right?
No play here at all.
Yes, how dare you? You know what, man? You're not coming back. See ya. Out.
No, but I understand.
TV, you know what? Just kick him now. It's all good.
Hamdi at plus money, plus 120-ish. Like I get the bet there.
Fair enough. I respect it.
Yep.
I don't.
All right. As we roll off the rails, Danny, thank you so much, man. You're legitimately awesome guy. We've met up before.
We've broken bread. Before. We are official friends.
Broken pepperoni pizza at the table of the Dark Horse of Gentlemen. The Four Horsemen, I should say. But whatever. Anyways, absolutely. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. I love doing this shit on the weekly.
That was the curtain jerker. I'm ready for more fights. What the fuck?
I know. 11 fights. It's sadness.
Down from 13, which was bullshit.
I will say, after doing double duty last time and doing 138 show after our show 2 weeks ago, I am happy to, I had an absolutely phenomenal time. I love getting out here with you guys, getting after these fights. But I can't wait, man. We got weigh-ins are probably happening ASAP, 1, 2 a.m. in the morning, if I had to guess, on our end here. So keep an eye out. I already did my homework for the most part, Guru. So I hope you do yours. We got to make sure that we're in a good spot. But I think, if you guys have been following along, we gave you some good reads, some good plays, and always having a great time. Shout out Danny for having fun with us and getting down with the experience.
Appreciate the invite, fellas.
Do you have any last words for the people before we let the Guru give a more concise summary for us?
I appreciate you guys having me on as always. Again, you guys are always welcome to jump on the Club and Sub pod, which is now on Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Whenever you want. Just let us know.
And the only other thing is we got 9 a.m. card this Saturday. So morning cocktails there.
Oh, yeah. TV, we got to talk about that, actually. You want to do a little mimosa action? What do you want to do?
Scoop something up. I'll get the OJ.
You have the OJ?
I'll get the OJ.
Yeah.
You make the other
easy.
stuff happen.
That's easy money. Done.
Bam. Look at that. And this is what you get on this show. Yes, I'm getting the bacon. We'll got fucking waffles. We'll do fresh berries and fresh whipped cream.
I've already
I'm gonna
got the
make
sausage. You know
eggs.
what I mean?
Yeah, he's packing the sausages, spicy style. No, just kidding.
The ham.
That's it. The
Very
handy
spicy.
sausage, baby. But this is what you get, man. We actually chill out and watch the fights every week, you know? So if you want the real hard-hitting analysis of two guys that can't stand each other but also love each other, this is where you come, the Triple C experience. Look, this guy already hates me. Anyways, Guru, take it away properly for the people.
Danny, seriously, thanks so much for being here, man. Really appreciate breaking them down with you. Had a wonderful time. Everybody in the chat, thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for listening. Share it as much as you can. Share it to all your friends. We love doing it.
Tell everybody that you know.
Oh, all right, Kanye, sing it. We're feeling real anti-Semitic tonight between Bryce Mitchell and Kanye West. Yeah, that's the fight, bro. Natan Levy and Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell probably wins.
Yeah,
but
Natan
I don't
Levy
want to see it.
sucks, though.
He's so bad.
Yeah, that's not.
He's so bad. I do karate, but I also do jujitsu. I don't see it, brother. All right, guys, seriously, thanks so much for being here. We'll be back next week for UFC 312, the rematch. Dricus du Plessis taking on Sean Strickland in your middleweight title match. Can't wait to break that down. Guys, make sure you're following Danny Lags. Make sure you check out the Club and Sub podcast. Make sure you're following my awesome co-host, TV Scouting MMA. You can check him over on Twitter, Verdict, Instagram, Picket, Tapology, and BetMMA. Don't even follow him on Verdict. He doesn't do it. You can follow me, the Guru Scouting MMA. You can follow me over on Twitter, Instagram, Picket, Verdict, Tapology, and BetMMA. Guys, take care. Be safe out there, and let's make some money.